Now that we've got all of the housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and draw some walls. So everything that we mentioned previously, we're going to want to maintain, but we're going to want to set this location line to finish face exterior. And because we have the options available to us, we can draw with line, rectangle, polygons, whether it's inscribed or circumscribed. And we can do circles and arcs and all kinds of different things here. And our case, it's pretty simple, so we're just going to stick with the rectangle. You could definitely draw it with all lines if you wanted to, but why would you when you have the rectangle option? So I'll just pick 2 points here. So I'm going to kind of start in this location here with a left click. And then you can see I'm not even really close to the dimensions, but I'll just kind of guess about right there. It doesn't really matter what those dimensions say because those are actually to the center line of the wall anyway. So I'll have to adjust it after the fact, no matter what. So I'll go ahead and click to place, and that's going to be my overall building outline. When I zoom in here a bit so we can see what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and pick one of the walls. You can see that my finish face exterior is this dot here and here. And then what we have is this toggle, which actually will always be on the exterior face of the wall so that we don't have to guess whether what's inside or outside, because this is a generic wall that doesn't have a material applied to it. The next thing we need to do is make sure that we get these dimensions correctly. So to do that, we can do a couple of different things. First, we could use what are called the temporary dimensions, which are these guys here, to adjust the length and the width of this building. Or we could do what I prefer, which is just to draw the dimensions anyway, because we're going to end up doing it later on down the road anyhow. So to draw these dimensions, the first thing we want to do is we're going to go to our Annotate tab. Now, when we draw dimensions in Revit, what we're looking for is the aligned dimension. This is going to be dimensions that we draw from plane of wall to plane of wall. So think of it as drawing it from this face to this face here. So if I were to use my aligned dimension, I want to make sure that I hit that face of the wall. And by default, Revit's going to try and find those center lines no matter what we do here, unless we were to change the default. And honestly, you can change it to wall faces, but the next thing you'll be doing, you're going to want to change it to wall center lines or wall core or whatever it may be. So I don't mess with that. What I do is I just use what's called the tab key, which is probably going to be one of your favorite keys on the keyboard, except for escape, because that's everybody's favorite. You hit that one a ton of times here. So with tab, what we can do is if I hover over the wall, I can hit the tab key and it'll change my selection options. See how it's kind of bouncing around there? Since I want this to be on the outside face, what I'll do is I'll hover over the outside face and hit tab, and then I'll click to start it. So I'll do the same thing as I come across, find that outside face, hit tab, left click again, and now I have my dimension. So to place this dimension, what I could do is I could move the mouse up, and then now there's no chance that you can dimension to something that doesn't exist. So there's nothing out here. So I'll just click in the white space and it terminates the dimension. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing for the other dimension. So I'm going to hover, hit tab, grab that face of wall, bring it down, hit tab again, and then we'll move it across and place it. Now, because this building is so small, we're going to run out of space really quickly here. So we're going to have to change the scale from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch because we won't be able to see any of our dimensions or walls or anything we're creating. It'll just become a really cluttered mess really fast. So we want to make sure we're using 1/4 inch for now. So now that we have the dimensions in place here, what we could do is we can adjust these values to match what shows on our plan. So we're close here. We got 26, and then we got 27.6 on this one. So to make that adjustment, everybody's first instinct is to just go and try to change this dimension. but then you end up with this dialog box, and there's really no way we can change the dimensions from here. So to adjust the dimension values, you got to think about what they were using as reference points. So we use this wall and this wall. So if I want to make this guy 25 feet, then I need to pick either this wall or this wall to adjust the length of this one here. And if you notice, when I pick on those walls, this dimension turns blue, which means that it's active and it's able for me to change the value. So if I were to pick on that blue value, then I can type in 25 and hit enter, and it adjusts the dimension to be 25 feet. And I could do the same thing here to make this exactly 20 feet. So if I were to pick this horizontal wall, you can see that the value changes to 20 feet, 6 inches from black to blue, and it gives me the ability to change it. Another common mistake a lot of people make is they'll want to pick this wall because it just seems to make sense that you're changing this length, but in reality, you're changing the location of this wall. And so we'll change that to 20 and hit enter. And now we have all of our exterior walls created with the right wall type and with the right dimensions.